19 January 2021, and I'm joined by Mr. Tinashe Jonasi, President of Ideal Zimbabwe. How are you, sir?
As usual, an honor to be on the game-changing Zimbabwean media, Gambakwe media.
Thank you very much, sir. So today we want to look at a very important subject. There were allegations this week by a model, a supermodel called Sipho Mazibuko against Jonathan Moyo, Professor Jonathan Moyo. The allegation is that 11 years ago, she says she was abused by Jonathan Moyo until she had to go to a mental hospital. She had to be admitted at a mental hospital. Did you see this story?
Yeah, I saw the story, and I'm following the story.
Okay. So what I did is I called Sipho Mazibuko herself, and I talked to her before and after Jonathan Moyo responded. And she referred me to her lawyers. And the lawyers said to me, so she's got two sets of lawyers. I think one of them is an NGO and another one is a local lawyer in Bulawayo. And they told me that she stands by her story. And I can even show you a picture here of a WhatsApp discussion that we had. I think what I'll do is let me show you this WhatsApp. This is a WhatsApp message from yesterday. She says she stands by what she put on her two posts on Kariko Kaseke and Jonathan Moyo. The rest, talk to my lawyers. So, do you believe that Jonathan Moyo would do such a thing, would rape a woman like Sipho Mazibuko?
Okay. Personally, I don't have any doubt because Sipho Mazibuko is a woman of high moral ground. I mean, she's a famous figure in the modeling industry. Actually, a legend. So many beautiful girls, models went through a mentorship. So to me, she has got a lot to lose in terms of coming out and just make false allegations. She's a brand in fact. So she's not just a random girl from somewhere that would actually get a lot of publicity and all this by claiming she was abused by Jonathan Moyo. To me, this is a genuine story.
Okay, but why wait 11 years to come up with this story?
According to the available data, she never waited for 11 years. She reported the case. A docket was opened at Bulawayo Central Police Station, but because Jonathan Moyo was a minister and a very powerful figure in the government, obviously he had much influence, and the docket was suppressed.
Okay, so she raised the complaint against two men, Kariko Gakaseke, who was the ZTA chairperson, and Jonathan Moyo. Do you believe that Kariko Gakaseke is innocent?
He is not innocent. Actually, he is the architect of rape, the sexual assault of models in Zimbabwe. Let me tell you. For those who doesn't know, I'm in the media industry, the arts industry, the music industry, the modeling industry. So many models in Zimbabwe have actually gone through hell. Kariko Gakaseke, there is so much even pimping. I won't even have a problem to. There's a modeling agency that is still operating in Zimbabwe. That one of the models, many models told me that I think the lady is called Kamushinda or something. It's called what? Top model. I can't remember. It is used to operate next to First Street there. I'm forgetting, but the lady, they also do what is called I'm forgetting the name of the competition, but so many models I've interacted with, they've been pimped to actually big powerful politicians. There are even modeling agencies in Zimbabwe that are pimping these young girls to blessers or sugar daddies. The modeling industry in our country has been sexualized, has been is commercialized in terms of that. Hence, if you remember, we had incidents where Mrs. Zimbabwe, someone wins Mrs. Zimbabwe, and then few months later, nude pictures leak, and then the Mrs. Zimbabwe is replaced. The second one, again the nude pictures leaks. There's too much abuse of our girls, and mostly those who win Mrs. Zimbabwe, they've got to sleep with some powerful politicians.
Okay, so what needs to be done in this case? There is an allegation that has been made. What does we know that Kariko Kaseke is involved in this kind of stuff. I've seen a girl when I was in Harare who was raped by him, and this was in court. I actually saw her physically myself and talked to her. So I know he could be involved in this kind of thing. What does Jonathan Moyo have to do to clear himself? If we say he's saying he is not involved, she's saying he's involved, what does he have to do?
All right. I'll give two scenarios. In South Africa, there's a woman who alleged that she was raped by two powerful DJs, DJ Fresh and Euphonic. And even the one of the biggest commercial radios in South Africa that they're working for, called I Felt Stereo 947, they even suspended these DJs. The mere fact that she opened a police case, they were suspended from work. And in the US, we have got internationally, we have got a case of Bill Cosby. He abused women in 1970s, but he's in trouble. R. Kelly. The problem of our country, Zimbabwe, is that women are on their own. Women are not protected in Zimbabwe. Number one, child marriages. A 50-year-old man can be in love with a 16-year-old girl, and it's normal, and it's taken as normal. That's why the first abuse, it's extremely old men dating their granddaughters or their daughters. Child marriages in Zimbabwe, it's like approved culturally, but it's the mainstream sexual abuse which is kind of approved in our society. That's number one. Number two, the Ministry of Tourism under Walter Mzembe created a pimping. I forgot the name in US. This guy who had this magazine in the party where young girls are prostituted. Walter Mzembe created, together with Kariko Gakaseke, they created what they call Miss Universe under the Ministry of Tourism, because remember they were the patrons of Miss Zimbabwe, but they wanted their own that they were controlling. Miss Universe Zimbabwe was a syndicate. It was more of I can say human trafficking or pimping of girls. And because these girls are given to politicians as escorts, as small houses, the modeling industry in Zimbabwe, we know that most people who are rich are politicians, powerful politicians, and they run powerful companies. the modeling industry is no longer lucrative in our country. They deliberately stop funding it so that models are poor. Models are poor in our country, and then they are now vulnerable to this prostitution ring. What we need to do as a society is that we need to debunk the cultural reps. Men are hiding behind culture. Culture in terms of child rapes. Secondly, in our culture, women must start speaking up in terms of sex. Women must take control in terms of sex. When a lady wants sex, they must even initiate it. Our women also play hide and seek. Your lover would come to would visit you in your place, and you are the two of you, and they think if they agree to sex, they are maybe you are going to see them as of loose morals. So our women, they deny you sex even if they want it, even if you can see that their dressing is seductive, everything. Our women must start taking control. They must say yes, and if when they mean yes, they must say no when they mean no. Because culturally, as men, we are also confused. Sometimes your woman is denying you sex. You don't know whether to push further. Normally, the first sex in Zimbabwe is a rape because as a man, you don't know because they always say no. They will never say yes. Even if she can visit you for a week or for a month and even sharing a bed with you day and night, they always say no. So women must start modernizing sex behavior. They must initiate if they want. If they don't, a yes must mean yes, a no must be a no, because we are also confused as men. And our mothers must not sell their kids. If your daughter is in love with a powerful rich man, businessman or a politician, don't look at the money, because most of the times it ends in tears. The young girl will be given kids, will be given HIV and other diseases, and the money is that small money, change money. When the baby is there, the businessman, the politician runs away. So even to me, it's a societal problem. We can't really. Churches also. I'm from Zayoja, where if you want a woman, you just take her to the sofas, and the woman is called. She must accept or not. To me, that is barbaric and so abusive of women and the word love, because they must be courtship. They must think. The church must not interfere in terms of people being called to the sofas and the pastor plays the matchmaker or the what. To me, that's rubbish. So even in religious circles, pastors, they play every role, and prophet every role. And there's no denying that prophets are also taking advantage of married women, young girls, because our society, culturally, Zimbabwe, it's a society that any person in office, any person of any power is considered hero worshipping. Hero worshipping in Zimbabwe it's a cancer. It's not only in politics, it's also in churches, it's also at work. A manager, a CEO, and a supervisor, people are afraid of losing their jobs. There's a sad reality that happens in Beru, but I won't mention the people. There's a friend of mine who wanted a job at Chicken Inn. And when she went there for an interview, she was taken into a toilet. And it's like a standard practice for Zimbabwean waitresses in South Africa and in Zimbabwe, that you have got to sleep with a manager in the toilet or whatever placed around the restaurant. And then after that, you are given a uniform and then you get a job. So men were also taking advantage of the economic situation in Zimbabwe and sex for jobs. When I was at college, at Mkoba Teachers College, someone who was close to me was actually embarrassed because she actually made love to the lecturer. a lecturer who is from a famous family. I mean, and because the lecturer was a writer of books, is a publisher, but he is late now. They made love in the office of the lecturer, while we were all outside waiting to also forward, because we were in a queue. But for some reasons, maybe they never saw us because the queue was starting at a corner. And we heard everything that was happening in the office. And when the lady was coming out, even lecturers in colleges, in universities, teachers in primary, in secondary, when at some point from Macheke government primary school, just after Marondera, on your way from Harare Mtare Road, there was a scandal that a certain teacher and those caretakers, security, they abused more than 70 girls. So I mean, it's also a stigma for our women to come out and report, because we judge a situation. Jonathan Moyo is an MDC Alliance instructor, and people who are commenting, they are commenting politically. Either you're from the ZANU-PF Lacoste faction, and then you comment it politically, or you're from the MDC Alliance, and you know Jonathan Moyo is a standing committee member, and people they dismiss this woman and say it's a fabricated story, it's a ZANU-PF. We politicize everything, and I don't know where ZANU-PF comes in here, because this is the Sipho Mazibuko versus Jonathan Moyo, the men, the accused, the suspect. But ZANU-PF is playing here. So,
so Mr. Jonas, I think let's quickly let's give Jonathan Moyo a chance, because he responded.
Okay.
So let's look at his tweets. He's blaming Mnangagwa for what is happening. So you can see on the screen, he's saying this is originating from Mnangagwa. They've made allegations about him before. They said Moyo sexually abused women at Kwekwe Assembly Point in 1980. Moyo was a lover of Alam Mpofu. Moyo impregnated and killed Jackie Madondo. Moyo sexually abused Yulik Ndlovu. Moyo sexually abused his late daughter. Moyo sexually abused Sipho Mazibuko. Do you believe that ZANU-PF is doing this?
Okay, let me answer that without fear and favor. I'm dismissing the word ZANU-PF involved, because ED is ZANU-PF. Jonathan Moyo is ZANU-PF. So I won't play ZANU-PF here, because both are ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF Lacoste, ZANU-PF G40. G40, which has got a branch called MDC Alliance. So these two men are from ZANU-PF. So the ZANU-PF thing, it doesn't work here. Now, let me show that ED is not involved in this thing. Number one, who are the victims of rape of Jonathan Moyo? The biggest victim of Jonathan Moyo's rape is Grace Mugabe. Where is Grace Mugabe coming in here? Jonathan Moyo is a manipulator, politically or whatever you can call it. Jonathan Moyo advised Grace Mugabe to become a president. No matter Grace Mugabe doesn't have the political stamina, and she's not a politician. Grace Mugabe to become a women's league chairperson and wanting to be a president, a campaign manager was Jonathan Moyo, and she was ill-advised, and she costed the career and respect and legacy of the husband. That's the first victim. The second victim of Jonathan Moyo is none other than Nelson Chamisa. Nelson Chamisa is a brilliant young man who is charismatic. To me, Nelson Chamisa is someone who was supposed to be a president of Zimbabwe at some point. But Jonathan Moyo, because he wants to be a president of Zimbabwe, but he is not a politician, but a manipulator. Yes, ill-advised the young man. And Chamisa, to me, is a brilliant leader who has fallen prey to Jonathan Moyo, because Jonathan Moyo manipulated Grace because Grace had money. Jonathan Moyo is manipulating Chamisa because Chamisa has got charisma to become the Zimbabwean president at some point. But Chamisa has been told to dislike and dismiss everything Zimbabwe. Chamisa has been tended to be an anti-Zimbabwe man. And there's no way you can be anti-Zimbabwe and then become Zimbabwean leader. Chamisa is a victim, and as things stand, Chamisa is now turning against Jonathan Moyo by desperately wanting to meet ED. And I beg ED not to meet Chamisa until Chamisa become a Zimbabwe. And the other victim again of Jonathan Moyo is the young man himself, Xavier Kasukuwere. You know, Xavier Kasukuwere and Walter Muzembi, they are being manipulated. The G40 project kingpin is Jonathan Moyo. Walter Muzembi is just, whether I can say an academic or what, I don't know, but he's not a politician. So
okay,
this Mashaya Mombe, they are not politicians. They are manipulated by Jonathan Moyo. So Jonathan Moyo is the same person who stole 88,000 US dollars under the Ford Foundation in Kenya. And he ran away there. ED was not involved in the Ford Foundation in Kenya. After running away from Kenya, Jonathan Moyo ran to South Africa and under Wits University, where he was the program director of the Kellogg Foundation, doing some researches. Jonathan Moyo is fingered in the 100 million rands fund there. And ED was not involved, was not even in South Africa. Jonathan Moyo, these are major scandals, and ED is not involved. Jonathan Moyo is involved in the ZIMDEF, Zimbabwe Manpower Development Fund in Zimbabwe, at the tune of $244 million. And Jonathan Moyo is not denying this. What is he saying? Jonathan Moyo is saying you used that money to develop his constituents of Cholocho. And because they are one of the poorest constituencies in the country, they surely deserved it the most. He is not denying it. The biggest scandals of Jonathan Moyo are those three, and ED is not involved. What else? Jonathan Moyo is purporting to love Zimbabweans, but he is the kingpin of AIPA and POSA. Even my late uncle, who was a law expert, the comrade Edson Zobo, he when he was a chairperson for the legal committee, parliamentary legal committee, when he saw AIPA being brought to parliament by Jonathan Moyo, he said this is a well-calculated piece of legislation to strive freedom of speech. But Jonathan Moyo is the same person who orchestrated the bombing of Daily News, the closure of Daily News, and the capture of all state media and private media. And right now, Zimbabweans are suddenly, Jonathan Moyo supported the government in terms of on the issue of Itai Dzamara. But now he's coming back and say, I apologize, hey, I was misled. Jonathan Moyo is a snake with two heads. And any Zimbabwean who loves Zimbabwe and entertain Jonathan Moyo, you are anti-Zimbabwe. Chamisa has been turned to anti-Zimbabwe. MDC Alliance is an anti-Zimbabwe. And right now they are regretting. They want ED desperately. But Tinashe is said is a ZANU-PF project. Monzora is a ZANU-PF project. But Zimbabweans can't see Chamisa is now desperate and he has climbed down. He wants to meet ED. The two of them. If Chamisa wants to meet ED, he is not a ZANU-PF project. If Monzora wants to work with the ZANU-PF, with the government, it's all Jonathan Moyo. He is manipulating everyone. And the Zimbabweans must shun Jonathan Moyo. And I pray that Chamisa one day is going to run away and escape from the grip of a two-headed snake called Jonathan Moyo.
Okay, Mr. Jonas, I'm going to give you a 2 minutes break. Then I talk to Charles. Charles, I'm going to unmute you now, and then the two of us can talk. Please remember the rules. So I'm gonna ask you to speak now.
Hello, how are you, Gambakwe?
Very well, thanks. And you?
Okay, I think you can hear me clearly.
Yes.
Okay, I think as I was following, I think let's take a look slowly, because if we run and say Mr. Professor is not you can't trust a professor. Let's separate issues here. There is political life, and this is personal. A person can be loyal or can be trusted in a personal way. Let's say he is married. Let's, for example, I'm not sure, but let's just say it's a personal life. When then I see Mr. Jonas is talking about money of Zimdev, bombing of what, Itai Zamara, then I think the theme seems like it's getting lost a little bit. Let's say I didn't have enough time to just jump, because I see that like the topic was going way, like the divergence is too much. Okay, I just have a little bit of time to go through the allegation. My point, or my concern so much is uh, she said what she said. The allegation is there out there. Then professor has to react. I didn't go through the reaction or the response. But the point is, I am feeling like it will be very difficult, because of the political status of the professor, for something like this to be taken seriously, because as you know that the professor is not in the country because of politics and something like that. So a lot of people, the people are already divided right now. Before having the facts on the ground, they are already divided. Is this shenanigans in politics? Is this real? So I feel for the lady, because now her case, it's a, I think I saw a little bit of the information that says, she said, I want to free myself from this. I've been living with this for a very long time. So I want to be free emotionally. But for her to be free, and when this thing entangles a politician of this nature, it will be very difficult for the people to separate the two issues. Now, everything is already divided into two. People say, no, she's being used by this and that, this and that. Other people are saying, no, it's true or it's not true. But as time goes on, I think time will prove things, like, the time will just put things on the stage, we can see. But as for now, I think it will be very difficult for people to put to get the grip of the issue. So we can talk about violence against women, gender-based violence, or something like that. The issue, when you ask Jonasi about Professor Jonathan Moyo, he rushed to the unloyalty of him in political decisions in whatsoever on that. But the issue was, as much as I understood it, the issue was, as much as you know him, do you think he is capable of doing this? Then he tried to support that, because support that by saying, he steal the money, or he ties Amara this or that. But if you look closely, you can see that those things cannot be related. This is a rape. Raping a woman and stealing money from Zimbabwe. It's two different things. A politician can be a crook 150%, but that does not qualify one to be a rapist. This is serious.
Okay, Charles, I hear you, and I think you've made your point. So I'm going to ask you to leave the studio now. Then Mr. Jonas is going to answer you. Please watch from home and continue to watch. So, Mr. Jonas, you heard the point. Charles is saying what you are saying regarding Jonathan Moyo is not relevant in terms of rap.
Okay.
There are people who don't like you now. They can't then say Mr. Jonas is a rapist if you are accused.
Okay.
What do you think there?
I understand Charles' point, his point of view. I mean, whatever we are discussing here, remember, facts can only come from the court, the court of law. When there's any criminal case, obviously we divide people's views into two. Anyone who is not an officer of the court or of law has got opinions, and they need to be proven. They will proven how by a full trial in court. So whatever we are saying here from me, from Charles, are opinions, which one day are going to be proved facts or false. So
Okay. Mr. Jonas, I want to hold you there.
Yes.
Sipho, I talked to her.
Yes.
I talked to her lawyers. They haven't gone to the police to make a police report. They've gone to the newspaper, the Chronicle and the Herald. Do you think it's fair, if you've got a case, to go to the newspaper instead of going to the police?
Okay. Thank you. So I wanted to say to Charles, I want to answer this thing before I come to this assertion that Jonathan Moyo is outside the country because of political reasons. My own understanding, Jonathan Moyo is not outside Zimbabwe. Is not in exile because of politics. The allegation is that he took money from ZimDev. Then he must come to Zimbabwe, go to court of law, and present himself, win the case or lose it. There's nothing political about that. So people confuse. Once you are known as a politician, people, they just think everything else is politics. In that way, we are abusing the word politician. When rape is a criminal case, it doesn't involve politics. But I went through the life and the gimmicks of Jonathan Moyo. If you steal money from 3 different countries, you are considered a criminal. So a criminal can do anything. There's criminal allegations around him, which are hovering for many years. So that's what I'm saying. He is an alleged criminal. And then coming to you about this woman, from my own understanding of what she said, she tried to open a case and the docket was opened, but there was no further investigations or whatever. She said it died a natural death. And now that the perpetrator is no longer powerful, she, by going to the media, I don't know because I'm not a spokesperson, but she understands well, because Jonathan Moyo is a popular figure. She understands well that Jonathan Moyo is out of the country and is in exile. I don't know whether that was the reason not to open a case, but if let's create that opportunity that tomorrow she goes to Bulawayo Central Police Station and open a case. Obviously, there's no Jonathan Moyo to handle himself over, because there are other charges already that is not even coming to hand himself over. So probably she's not motivated to open a case because she knows Jonathan Moyo is out of the country and to unknown destination. No one is sure he is in Kenya, he is in South Africa, and we know extradition is a complicated process. So this woman also, with her lawyers, they understand what is at stake to bring Jonathan Moyo to you open a case for investigation first, secondly for an arrest. Okay. At the end of the day,
so you know, Mr. Jonase, I'm hearing you, and I think it's clear what you're saying. Are women not being used by politicians? A few months ago, we saw Grace Mfurusa. She made allegations against Hopo Chungon that he was taking women to his house and dragging them and then raping them at the height of his arrest. Now we have this case of Professor Jonathan Moyo and Sipho Mazibuko. All these women that are being mentioned, they don't report, they just go to the media.
Okay.
Are we not going to see a case where one day a woman is just going to appear and say, Gambako raped me 20 years ago?
Okay. Thank you for that question. To me, in our society of Zimbabwe, the most vulnerable people are children, disabled, and women. Women fall under vulnerable sectors, a sector in our nation. So as men, we are the most powerful, mostly even financially and physically and culturally. The culture, Zimbabwean culture, is biased. It's abusive by nature. a woman is like a sex object, is like a tool. Our culture is even worse. On that the culture can't be arrested, but the Zimbabwean culture was supposed to be in prison. Now, so as men who are perpetrators of abuse and whatever it is to women, we must at every opportunity protect women. No man is an angel. I'm not an angel, but we must try to protect women in our narrative. If women are being used by politicians, the same politicians are likely to be men. That's women abuse. If a woman is also sexually assaulted, the person again is the man. It's gender-based violence. So whether it's a politician manipulating a woman to report a false rape, or whether it's a politician raping a woman, it's still in both scenarios a man as the perpetrator. So one way or the other, it's still abuse. So our women are on the receiving end. Let me take an American scenario where Bill Clinton, a lady came out, a former secretary, and say I was abused. Surely that woman was taken like she's being used. I think Clinton is a Republican, is a Democrat, and it was viewed like this woman was being manipulated by the Republicans. It's a political trap, but it proved it was not. And even Bill Clinton accepted and apologized. And here in South Africa, there was a case of this former COSATU Secretary General, who was also alleged to have abused the secretary. It's all people always allege politics, but more often than not, it proves the abuse has taken place. Powerful men, they create a narrative which is politics to hide behind it. Okay, the first incident, I'm happy that yesterday Jonathan Moyo himself, when he was being interviewed by a certain guy from Magamba TV, I think it's a Dube guy, I can't remember his name. Jonathan Moyo was asked, when you were a minister, at the time you were a minister in Zimbabwe, would you say politicians loved women? And which politician can you can mention that he loved women the most? I'm quoting Jonathan Moyo himself. Jonathan Moyo's answer was, everyone in ZANU-PF of any senior positions, they love women a lot. And there are two forms of them. Others have got a lot of women, wives, which is the polygamy. The others have got one wife at home, and they've got a lot of small houses. And he went on to mention Francis Nema as the most of all who loved women, and he can put him on position number one. He went on to say, my brother Francis, please let's not fight on this one. So Jonathan Moyo, by his own admission, men in ZANU-PF, they love women. I'm deliberately talking about ZANU-PF because ZANU-PF men have got money, unlike in other fringe opposition political parties. Because what makes Zimbabwean men mostly be to humanize is the money. Because you can't have 100 women, you can't date a lot of women when you don't have money. So money is in ZANU-PF. That is a public secret. So Jonathan Moyo himself agreed and conceded that every minister loved women. But this is the scenario. And when a minister loves a lot of women, it's abuse. Because how do you love 50 women?
Okay, Mr. Jonasi, I've got some breaking news that I want to share with everybody. And this is very, very interesting breaking news. I'm trying to get this screen up. Dr. Shingi Munyeza has came out. You saw the allegation today that he was in a relationship with another woman. He has just came out when we were live now, and he has apologized to his wife, to the church. So those allegations were not false. So I'm going to put this up on the screen right now. And it says here, greetings, brethren. Recently, I've allowed myself into a situation where I fail morally. I failed my wife and family. I failed the church that I was part of. I therefore seek your forgiveness. I'm stepping down to introspect and to be restored. I covet your prayers and support. God bless you. This is amazing stuff. Yesterday, you could not have guessed this. Is this the same thing? Is ZANU-PF at play here? Because these tweets are coming from 2019. Is Mnangagwa going after everybody that is against him?
All right. First of all, Mnangagwa is the president of Zimbabwe. Obviously, there's a section of Zimbabweans who doesn't like him, not as a person, probably as a person, and both as a person and as a president of the in this office. So Mnangagwa has got supporters and non-supporters. That is obvious. Now, let's assume that people who doesn't like Mnangagwa, who are vocal against him, let's assume these people are 500. Surely Mnangagwa can't sit in meetings every day and plan how to deal with each of them, because Mnangagwa has got his job on its own. It's a very tiresome and demanding job. That's the first. Secondly, Mnangagwa is the president of ZANU-PF. On its own, it's a demanding job, and it's normal for people in ZANU-PF to dream and want to take over from Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa took over from Mugabe. It means there were years of planning. Surely there are other people who are planning right now to topple Mnangagwa at Congress or by any other means necessary. So I think we incorrectly assume Mnangagwa has got a lot of time to identify everyone who talks against him and go after him. I even if he wants to, I don't think time would allow him. So this is a person who is accused of cheat. Remember, the source of this incident of Shingimunyeza is that he posted an anniversary photo with his wife. And the daughter, who must be Nomsa, I think Munyeza, something like that. The daughter then came on to comment and say, how dare you say that to a woman that you are cheating and you have made me fatherless? I mean, so in other words, Mnangagwa went to Nomsa and converted 10 against his own father. And then the same Mnangagwa has come to Dr. Shingimunyeza, maybe let's say pay him and say confess. Then if Mnangagwa can do all that, let's agree that Mnangagwa is a superhuman being and is in his own world. Then let's all oblige and bow before Mnangagwa, because his powers, his persuasion is beyond redemption. It's beyond the earth.
Okay, Mr. Tinachi Jonas, the point I was trying to make is that men are weak. Senior people in our society, when we see them in front of the pulpit, in front of stages, they look like they are not capable of doing certain things. But then behind the scenes, they're obviously doing these things that when they're exposed, we're all left surprised.
Yes.
So yes. I guess this is also the case with Jonathan Moyo here. We have to give Sipho Mazibuko the benefit of the doubt, and I think she must take a case to the police. The police have already invited this afternoon. They've invited her to come with the case, and I think they should come. I think we've talked for longer than we planned to talk. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
I want to confess that Zimbabwean men, we love women. Zimbabwean men, so far we have failed to protect our women and children. And I wish every other man out there would agree and change. Surely our women are going to be safe the day that we decide to say enough is enough. Because the woman I abuse today or tomorrow is going to be the mother of someone, is a sister of someone, is a friend of someone, is going to be a grandmother of someone. I think as Tinashe, I will try everything to change, not to abuse women. And I give this challenge to other Zimbabwean men. Please, let's stop. Women are not sexual objects. They are like us.
Okay. So Rosemary Piri is saying, are you confessing before your scandal comes out?
Okay. Okay. Whether a scandal is going to come out or not, but change is a decision. You don't change to stop a scandal or to lessen a scandal. Change is a decision.
Okay. Right. Mdumdu, you're saying, where is Pugeni? Pugeni is still recovering from the loss here at the Extraordinary Congress. He's not talking. He's not talking to anybody. So expect him back very, very soon. I think within the next few weeks, I'll have Pugeni back here talking to me. But as you know, the spokesman for Senator Monzora is Witness Dube. So we are negotiating to see who we're going to be talking to more. But obviously, Pugeni is someone that I used to talk to a lot. So we'll probably have him here. And tomorrow we have the inauguration of Joe Biden. And I would like to ask you, Mr. Jonasi, tomorrow evening, so that we can come and we talk to people about what's happening in the United States of America. The United States of America is at war. They have fenced off the whole city, and they've got over 25,000 soldiers. The situation there is very, very volatile. And we want to see, obviously, what is going to happen tomorrow. We also have the situation in Uganda where Bobby Wine lost. He got almost 35% to the old man who got a lot more. So there's a lot to talk about. So tomorrow, I think we should come and have a chat, see what has happened with the inauguration. And also, guys, if you want to join our discussion with Mr. Jonasi, you're welcome to do so, to talk about the American political system. Democracy is failing in the United States, and they are even banning each other from platforms like Facebook, Twitter. They're closing Parler. This is something that Mnangagwa was accused of doing. So let us see where things are going. So let's take it from there. Tomorrow, same time, 9 p.m., I would like to talk to you, Mr. Jonasi, again. So
thank you so much.
Yeah.
And to me, it's an honor and a privilege to be invited by you.
Cool. I'm very happy. And I think let's chess. There's so much happening. Let's all go and get some sleep, and then we'll be back again tomorrow. As I said, keep your eyes on what is happening in the United States of America. It's going to be very interesting tomorrow because Trump is flying out as president. He's not waiting for Joe Biden to be inaugurated. So at that particular point of inauguration, America will probably be having two presidents in two different cities. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And Rosemary Piri, you're welcome tomorrow to join us and make your point. She says she disagrees with what I'm saying. So, Mr. Jonasi, thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you again tomorrow. And to everyone who's at home, good night.
Thank you so much, and good night.